Well, sea turtle nesting season begins May 1st right here on the Suncoast. And as residents and visitors, we have some important jobs to do to keep this native species safe. Senior biologist Melissa Bernhard from Mote Marine Laboratory is here to remind us how to be sea turtle friendly. Thanks for joining us, Melissa. So this is the time of year. So what do we expect right now in the whole sea turtle hatching phase?
So right now we are still pre-season as far as nesting goes. No females are coming ashore yet, but we are at the point where they're starting to mate and migrate back towards our beaches to nest.
And I'm assuming that should affect our behavior as, Suncoast residents as we visit the beach. So you brought some tools to kind of educate us a little bit so we know what's happening and what we should and should not do in that process. So let's start here.
Okay, so this is an example of what a staked nest would look like. The most important thing to get out of it is the top of the stake is where we keep the nest ID. So if anything's going on that you need to call us about, that's the part of the stake that we need to know so we know which nest you're talking about. Because we have up to 4,500 nests on the beach at any given point.
Wow.
And so if you say, yeah, it's the one in front of this condo, there might be 35 there. And so,
how do you know that there are eggs down there?
So during the nesting part of the season, we go out and we patrol on the beach. We walk the water line and we look for new crawls. And from the crawl, we can determine whether or not the turtle has laid eggs or not.
And how far, in advance do you know that that's a site?
After she's nested.
Oh, okay. And so if we see these are what we're looking for on the beach. If we
Yes.
see these, then we know that there is a sea turtle nest there, and it's almost like a mile marker. It'll tell you which
and so
one.
there's going to be 2 or 4 of those with some brightly colored tape in between it to sort of protect the area where the eggs are.
Okay. And I know you all do so much education, which is a big part
Yeah.
as well. So you have some great tools to teach the whole process. So what happens as we get to these?
Okay, so this is our nest model, if you will. This is what's going on under the sand while the nest is incubating. So this is about how deep a nest is. There are about 100 eggs in a nest.
Okay.
And they look like ping pong balls.
Oh, and they're not very deep.
They're not, I mean, the depth can vary a little bit, but they're only as deep as the turtle can dig.
Okay.
She digs with her back flippers. So they sit in the ground like that for most of the incubation process. It's anywhere from 45 to 50 days. They then move on to this part where it's called pipping. It's when the turtles start coming out of the shells. And they usually coordinate this a little bit, and they all sort of start pipping around the same time. And then they leave their eggs behind and migrate up to just below the surface.
Oh.
And so they sit there and they wait all together until they know it's nighttime, and usually that's a temperature cue for them. They can feel that it's a little cooler, and then that's the part where they then all emerge all at once.
Then they march.
And then they go to the brightest horizon, which we hope is the water.
And what do we do if we were to see hatchlings emerge, if we encounter them on our own?
If you come across it, give them their space. It does take them a little bit to sort of figure out which direction is the right direction. So don't just, go grabbing them.
So they might do a little wandering
They
first.
might do a little wandering, but hopefully they're going to turn, they're going to see the water, and they're going to sort of book it straight to the water.
And that's just a natural instinct to go towards.
Yep, all they know in their entire life is I got to get to the light, which is where the water is.
Now, let's talk about how we as people can be hazards to that. Like, let's
Yes.
talk boating first. How is boating a potential hazard?
Boating is a big hazard for the adults and the females. These are air-breathing animals, so they have to surface to breathe air, even though they would spend their entire lives in the water. So boats are problems with boat strikes hitting the animals that are surfacing or the mating pairs that are at the surface. So that's where boats are problems.
And this isn't just about helping the species. This is a law to protect.
Yes.
And now, you brought some other props to kind of teach some various how to be good to the turtles.
Yeah.
Tell us about what this one here.
So this one's kind of had a rough day.
Yeah, he's having a terrible day.
This is what we call our trashy turtle. This is to show that what you throw and leave behind on the beach and in the water can end up on our sea life. We see this all the time in our stranded turtles. Trash in their, nose and mouth and even in their belly. This one also has some fishing lines stuck around its flipper and a fishing hook stuck in its face, and so, you know, he's sort of had a really rough life, but
He needs our help.
he does.
So this is just a nice reminder that anything that goes into the water can affect
Yeah,
the
so any trash you
wildlife.
bring with you, take it with you also. Or if you find trash, take it with
Yes.
Yeah, even better.
you. Yeah.
Clean up
Some
after others.
interesting things here now.
Yeah.
What are we looking at?
So,
little
so
turtle?
this, what you're touching is a juvenile green sea turtle.
Oh,
About how old would that?
That
turtle
one's a
be?
couple years, probably, I'm guessing 5 or so, 5 to 10. I'm
Wow.
not.
that's as big as this guy's going to get.
No, this is a very small, for this.
Very small green
They get up to
turtle.
about 300, 400 pounds.
Oh,
Wow.
really?
So they'll get even bigger than this guy when
Oh,
they're adults.
really?
That's pretty big. Now, education is just one of the many things that you do. You're also, Moat is a nonprofit, and
Yes.
so to raise money for all of the research that you do, you have an event coming up this
Yes.
weekend. Tell us about the Run for the Turtles.
This Saturday is our 32nd annual 5K and 1 mile fun run. It's our big annual fundraiser that we use to fund our turtle protection.
And this is a great way for the community to get involved and give back, and also to help raise money for all the great work that you do. Well, thank you so much. If you would like to get more involved, you can join the 32nd Annual Run for the Turtles. It's this Saturday, April 7th. Go to moat.org for more details and registration. Coming up next, we're going to learn more about what's coming up at Urbanite Theater.